Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen, and I'm one of the many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 12, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. This week's edition of Banner and Press is dated Friday, October 30th, 2020. The first article is about Alfred Newton's very special birthday. Region residents surprise Neepawa veteran. The residents of the Westman region all pitched in to surprise Neepawa resident and veteran Alfred Newton for his 100th birthday this year. This is Newton pictured with some of the cards he received for his birthday on October 20th. This is a picture of Newton standing with a Dakota transport. And this C-130 Hercules gave a good 4 or 5 passes over the Newton residence before heading back to home base on October 21st. The flyby took place at approximately 3:15. These cards are just a portion of the 100 cards made up as a multi-school project with the Brandon School Division Youth Revolution to wish Neepawa resident and World War II veteran Alfred Newton a happy 100th birthday. All involved ensured that COVID-19 protocols were followed for the duration of the project. The project was ignited following a story published in the Neepawa Banner and Press, October the 2nd. Edition. And it goes on to say, that the mission was a success. Following an invitation put out to the public by his close friend and caregiver, Alfred Newton received 430 birthday cards from an array of locations. Newton is a Neepawa resident and World War II veteran, formerly of Kelwood. He celebrated his 100th birthday officially on October 20th with a drive-by celebration held by his friends and fellow Baptist church members 2 days prior. The group had strongly desired to make the veteran's milestone birthday extra special. Among the many cards was one from a woman originally from the Netherlands who now lives in Ontario. The card described how her parents always told her that the Canadians were wonderful and that she and her family would not be alive today were it not for Newton and his fellow members of service. To this day, Netherlands students are assigned a Canadian soldier's grave to take care of for the year and to light a candle at their grave for Christmas so they need not be in the dark on that day. Newton also received packages from the area's colonies and items such as Tim Hortons cards, friendship bracelets, gum, and chocolates. Another noteworthy surprise came from the 100th National Defense 17 Wing out of Winnipeg, 435 Squadron, part of Search and Rescue. On October 21st, the squadron performed a flyby over his house in a C-130 Hercules. The division had contacted the Banner and Press the week prior to get in touch with Newton's caregiver following the preview story published in the October 2nd edition of the paper. Newton's caregiver said the support has been amazing. Newton was born in 1920 and signed up to join the Royal Canadian Air Force in 1943. He trained as a gunner on Liberator bombers and graduated from the Bombing and Gunnery School at RCAF Station McDonald near Portage La Prairie. Newton would later be posted with the 357 Squadron at Jessore, India in early 1945. The Special Duties Squadron flew Liberators and Dakotas to drop men and supplies behind enemy lines. His service mid-year mostly focused his flights in eastern Burma, an area that had at one point been completely taken over by Japanese Axis forces. Newton returned safely to Canada in February 1946. That is quite a milestone. And personally, I watched and heard and watched that bomber go over our community. It was amazing. A Neepawa tradition with a different face. The 2020 installment of the Glorious Christmas Wish Sale is a go. Due to COVID-19, some changes have been made though. Instead of a one-day event at the Yellowhead Hall, it will take place on November 28th to 29th and December 5th to 6th, running from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Rain Pryor, Director of Programming at Arts Forward, told the Banner and Press that when the Arts Centre realized they couldn't make the sale work at the Yellowhead like they normally do, they wanted to ensure they would still be able to have all their vendors participate, as well to allow as many people to attend as possible. That's how it's transformed from a one-day event to a two-weekend event. Each day will have 10 different vendors at Arts Forward, and the public will know in advance who will be there on each of the days. It was purely a numbers game to safely allow as many people to participate as possible. I know I count on the craft sale each year for a lot of my Christmas shopping, and I bet a lot of other people do too. Accommodations have been made already for vendors who applied to the sale earlier in the year and are still happy to participate with the format that is required this year. Each day will have 10 vendors, with some vendors attending on different days. A couple of examples made were one vendor being scheduled for both days one weekend, and another planning to be at the sale for both Saturdays, but not Sundays. We do have a few spaces left on a couple of the days, but when we're full, and there's no flexibility to squeeze any more in. That's unfortunately just how things need to be this year to keep everyone safe and healthy. The capacity at Arts Forward, like other establishments, is currently strictly limited by how many are able to be safely accommodated in the available space. For the Glorious Christmas Wish Sale, this means that a maximum of 15 shoppers can be within the building at any given time. Arts Forward has had concerns that this would leave a lot of people lining up in the cold, so the center is implementing a timed entry system this year. People are still welcome to take their chances at the door or to sign up at Arts Forward for an entry time in advance to know that they'll be able to get in when they arrive. Arts Forward will begin taking sign-ups for entry times on Thursday, October 30th. That allows us to control the capacity of the building and have a more even flow of shoppers and allow shoppers to plan their day and avoid the cold, Pryor relayed. Traffic will also be directional, and it will have specified doors for entry and exit. Those wishing to attend should be advised that masks will be mandatory at the sale, and visitors are asked to observe social distancing while inside the building. Hand sanitizer will also be widely available throughout the facility. In her closing thoughts, Pryor shared the following statement. The Glorious Christmas Wish Sale is a tradition in Neepawa, and even though it's got a bit of a different face this year, we're really happy to have been able to come up with something that allows the annual sale to go on while adhering to public health orders and keeping everyone in our community safe and healthy. Neepawa's Parade of Lights planning to go ahead. The annual Neepawa Chamber of Commerce Parade currently is a go. Barb Bone, CO Officer Administrator, told the Banner and Press that the parade is currently planned for November the 28th. However, it has been stressed that some details are still currently being ironed out. At the time of the interview, October 26th, the Chamber's parade request was pending approval from the town of Neepawa. As well, the event is dependent on the condition the region will be in when the date comes closer. If the Prairie Mountain Health Region is in good condition, if our numbers are okay, then we can move forward, said Bone. We hope that the community will socially distance, wear masks, and remain on the sidewalks during the parade. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, some alterations have been made this year. Normally there would be a free movie shown at the Roxy Theatre and a visit from Santa. With the present health and safety guidelines, these items will not be part of the proceedings this year. Thus, the parade will consist solely of the Parade of Lights. The Chamber has also opted not to have candy handouts due to COVID-19 regulations. We're looking at other ways in which we might interact with the kids during the event. We'll be discussing these options at our next meeting on November the 9th. Another alteration being made this year is to the parade route. This change has come under the circumstance of construction work being done for the new Kinsman Court building. Though the parade will start at the Yellowhead region and head down Main Street, it will then turn west towards Buds and Bloom instead. Parade lineup will begin at approximately 5:15 p.m. so the event can start at 6 p.m. sharp. Right now, the Chamber is looking for volunteers to help with the parade. If anyone is interested, they should contact the Chamber of Commerce office. The Chamber of Commerce can be reached via phone at 204-476-5291, email, or on social media. The Chamber is expecting to send emails to its members shortly. Fine Arts Festival cancelled for 2021 season. The 54th Annual Fine Arts Festival has been cancelled. It was reported to the Banner and Press that the decision was officially made at the Fine Arts Festival Committee's meeting on October 22nd. Cheryl Beaumont, publicity chairperson, noted that this action has been taken for a number of reasons. These reasons included keeping volunteers safe, as most of them are retired and or older and therefore vulnerable, participant safety requiring sanitation of the piano after each use, creating a need for more volunteers and monitoring of COVID-19 protocols, and the cancellation of choir-based lessons. We looked into doing a virtual festival, but in order to have an equitable competition, participants would have needed to come to the church to play the same piano and under the same videoing to make it fair, said Beaumont. So we would have all the expenses but little revenue, as people would not be able to watch. For the online festival to work, a YouTube channel would have to be created to share information with the adjudicators. However, this would have meant putting underage participants online, something the committee wished to avoid. An additional factor to the cancellation was the uncertainty of what the future may hold. Currently, we are able to have 50 people at a public function. This could change to 10, or other restrictions could come into play and cause us to cancel the festival again, Beaumont said. Too many man-hours go into preparation because it takes months to plan a successful festival. Despite the 2021 festival being cancelled, options are still available for those who wish to support it. Paying to become a friend of the festival helps the committee cover costs such as insurance and maintenance of the grand piano. All those who would like to be a friend of the festival must provide a mailing address so a charitable tax receipt can be issued. Alternatively, supporters can become committee members or follow the festival's social media. If any fine arts festival enthusiasts would like to pursue these options, they are asked to contact the committee via the Neepawa and District Fine Arts Festival's social media or by mail at Box 547, Neepawa, Manitoba, ROJ1HO. Any sponsors who have already provided support are being mailed a letter from the committee which contains options such as reimbursement or holding the funds for the next festival opportunity. Helen Drysdale's Out of Helen's Kitchen, and this edition is about the dirty 30s. By 1933, the province of Manitoba had reached the end of their resources and faced financial bankruptcy. They could not sustain the cost of handing out relief. The federal government gave out funds, but only if the provinces balanced their budgets. Manitoba's 1933 budget raised taxes and cut most major spending. This, however, reduced many Manitobans to even more dire hardships. People's self-respect was worn down and despair took over. A record number of suicides and bank robberies took place. In Winnipeg, Mayor Ralph Webb wanted all who applied for relief to sign a promissory note to say they would pay the money back. If you had been in Canada less than 5 years and needed relief, he wanted you deported. To be fair to the mayor, little money was coming into the city coffers, and the city was taking care of around 6,000 families and over 3,000 single men. To make matters worse, 1936 was the coldest on record, with temperatures below -40 Fahrenheit. Livestock froze to death, as did some people. This extremely cold winter was followed by a summer that was extremely hot, with temperatures up to 110 Fahrenheit. In southern Manitoba, rivers and creeks dried up, as well as the milk cows. To help the prairie provinces, relief trains came from the east with used clothes, canned goods, apples, and other produce, including salted cod. Salted cod was not a favorite, as prairie people had no idea how to cook and serve it. Conservative Prime Minister R.B. Bennett believed he could solve the country's problems by adopting new trade and tariff policies. The policies helped the East, but were distressing for the West. By 1936, 8 provinces had declared bankruptcy, but the Manitoba government, led by John Bracken, survived. Bracken had been the principal of the Manitoba Agricultural College when the newly formed leaderless United Farmers of Manitoba, who had just won the election, asked him to be their leader. He accepted and was the Premier of Manitoba for nearly 22 years. Over time, Bracken opposed the federal government policies on trades and tariffs. He traveled and spoke to the other Canadian provinces, wrote many letters and articles to the papers arguing that Canada needed a new deal with the provinces. Bracken believed that Ottawa was shifting the burden to the provinces on assistance schemes. He advocated that the federal government take over the unemployment and relief from the provincial government. He believed that there was a fundamental flaw in Confederation policies and urged the federal government to set up an inquiry. In 1935, Liberal Prime Minister Mackenzie King won the election and officially signed the Bank of Canada Act into law, started by R.B. Bennett, to help stabilize and have control over the country's economy. Mackenzie King eventually responded to Bracken's complaints and created the Rowell-Surrey Commission on Dominion Provincial Relations in 1937. The commission visited every province, talked to provincial administrations, held public meetings, invited and received briefs, and took almost 3 years to finish their report. At first, the federal government refused to act on the report, but eventually amended the Constitution to make a fairer deal for all the provinces. The rains finally started coming in the late 1930s. The Prairie Farm Rehabilitation Administration, created by the federal government, helped the farmers learn new methods of tilling and crop rotation to help farm the prairie soil. When World War II began in 1939, Canada needed every worker it could get for shipyards, munition plants, food supplies, plane building, and more. Rain for the prairies and jobs for all. The Depression was over. Campbell's soup came to Canada in 1930s and was a sensation. Cooks had to be creative with the few ingredients they could afford, and Campbell's soup was economical. They provided recipes for using their soups in many ways to help stretch your budget. Main staples of this era were potatoes, beans, macaroni, wieners, bologna, and rice. Moments in Riding Mountain. My last published article, this is by Ken Kingdon. My last published article is dated December 2018. It's hard to believe that 2 years has slipped away. A lot of things can happen in 2 years, and I'm not even thinking about the impacts of a pandemic. I actually started 2 different articles after my last official one, but I just couldn't get up enough momentum to finish either of them off. One was about an interesting observation of 2 mating raccoons. To be honest, it's hard to write an article about animal sex without sounding like a weirdo. Sure, Sir Richard Attenborough could do it, but me, I just sound like a creepy old man. However, in the interest of science, and since I brought the subject up, just let me give you the barest of facts of the case. The mating occurred in broad daylight in Point Pelée National Park in the middle of January. I was minding my own business when I casually looked up into a tree, and there they were, a pair of raccoons 3 meters off the ground, precariously standing on a tree branch, going at it. The female looked less than impressed, I must say, as she clung to the large branch. The male seemed more nonchalant, totally disregarding the danger of the situation. I was shocked. I was dismayed. I had to drive away, mainly because they seemed in no hurry to stop. Even writing these words made me blush. The other article I started to write about was about opossums. Oh, how I love opossums. They are entirely weird and particularly unsuited to live in Canada, but I think that is what makes me attracted to them. I will, I'm sure, write an entire article about them sometime in the future, but suffice it to say that their scary tails, frostbitten ears, and sparse moth-eaten coat should make them a creature only their mother could love. But gol darn it, I am a sucker for an underdog, and you can't get much more of an underdog than an opossum. And for those who notice these sorts of things, I am now writing from Prince Albert National Park in Saskatchewan. As I say, things change, and Ray and I made the move from Point Pelée up to PANP in July 2019. While we really enjoyed our time in Southern Ontario and the team that I worked with were exceptionally dedicated to the park, I found that working in a park that's 15 kilometers leads to a point where you can literally say, been there, done that. Prince Albert National Park, often described as a twin to Riding Mountain National Park, is 3,875 kilometers. It's also home to free-ranging bison, elk, moose, caribou, and both white-tailed and mule deer, along with all sorts of predators, from wolves to cougars to wolverines. While I wouldn't normally consider myself a large mammal snob, there are some very pleasant trees and insects here too. It is nice to be in an ecosystem that is more or less intact, and one not surrounded by 5 million people. In the last couple of articles from Point Pelée, I would sign off with the byline, Ken Kingdon lives in Southern Ontario, but the prairies still own his heart. I'm now back on the prairies where both me and my heart belong, and the rest of my internal organs. RCMP respond to a dangerous driver. On October 20th and at approximately 3:15 a.m., Brandon RCMP were patrolling on the Trans-Canada Highway near Highway 5 when an eastbound vehicle was observed traveling at a very high rate of speed. Using radar, police determined the vehicle was traveling at 167 kilometers per hour in a clearly marked 100 kilometer per hour zone. Police activated emergency lights to conduct a traffic stop, and the vehicle attempted to make a right-hand turn onto Highway 5. However, the driver lost control and the vehicle went across the highway and into the east side ditch, then came out of the ditch, went up and over a south service road, landing in the south ditch on top of a utility box. The 17-year-old male driver from Carberry and 2 male youth passengers exited the vehicle. The driver had minor injuries and was cleared by medical personnel at the scene. The passengers were uninjured. The driver received a $927 ticket and a serious offense notice, which suspends his license until he meets with Manitoba Public Insurance. His mother came and picked him up from the scene. Whew, that'd be crazy. RCMP want to remind drivers that when a police vehicle has its emergency lights activated to pull you over, you should immediately engage your right turn signal to indicate your intention to pull over to the side of the road. Slow down and pull out of traffic. at the first safe opportunity. If a police officer activates lights and the siren, you are required to pull over to the side of the road immediately, as far to the right as possible. And a few Carberry articles. Leanne Zettler is the new home economist teacher in Carberry after a 1 year stint in the Neepawa Home Ec department on a term contract. She grew up on a dairy farm and was the co-valedictorian of her graduating class in Grenthal, which has a school similar to Carberry. Her family dairy farm milked 120 cows twice a day. She knows what a day's work is all about. Mrs. Zettler graduated from the University of Manitoba with a Bachelor of Arts majoring in English and Computer Science. This was followed by a Bachelor of Education and 6 years teaching grades 6 and 7 at Clear Spring School in Steinbach. Her teaching load in Carberry is grades 7 and 8 home ec, which is compulsory, and grades 9 and 10 home ec, plus grades 11 and 12 art, which are electives. She is quite creative and covers sketching, painting, and clay. Textiles and clothing, along with foods and nutrition, are taught in home ec. This has been a busy and exciting year for Leanne as she married Dr. Daniel Zettler, a local dentist, and they are very involved in renovating their home in Neepawa. Brothers Daniel and Anton operate a dental practice in Neepawa, Treeherne, and Carberry. Mrs. Zettler enjoys her students and new position and is happy to get a ride to Carberry with her husband every Monday and Wednesday. Belated welcome to Carberry Collegiate, Leanne. Here and there, Tanya Polasek, president of the Carberry Skating Club, stated that they are off to a fantastic start with instructors Teddy Garvey from Brandon and Jensen Barron from Carberry. 35 skaters are in the Can Skate program, which has ice time from 4:30 to 8 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Due to proper distancing, there is no synchro skating this year. However, they have 10 skaters in the Can Power program. Carberry school enrollments are down slightly due to COVID-19 causing homeschooling, as RJ Wow has 19 students not attending, and the collegiate is short 20 regular attendees. Morden Redskins of the Southeastern Manitoba Hockey League have changed their name to Morden Bombers, where I played in the SEMHL with the Carman Beavers for 7 years in the 1960s. Morden was known as the Bombers. The Beavers used to have some great provincial series with Neepawa in those days. Carberry Town Council has withdrawn $297,157.98 from their gas tax revenue for paving on Main Street and the walking trails. They have also decided to establish a reserve fund for capital expenditures such as a lift station for a sewer system expansion. Megan Biswitherick from Austin and grade 12 student at McGregor Collegiate had a great weekend as the Central Plains Capitals under 18 netminder. She stopped 47 shots in a 2-1 win over Westman Wildcats at Hartney Sunday afternoon and had a super game in a 3-2 defeat in Shoal Lake against the undefeated Yellowhead Chiefs Saturday. Biswitherick was named Manitoba Female Under 18 AAA League Goalie of the Week. Canada's southern border has been closed for another month until November 21st due to the pandemic. In spite of COVID-19, elections seem to prevail as New Brunswick, British Columbia, and Saskatchewan are involved, and Canada almost had won, except for a 180 to 146 vote October 2nd in the House of Commons, with the NDP abstaining. Our American neighbors go to the polls every 4 years, and hopefully on November 3rd, they elect people who are truthful, fair, and interested in improving health care. We sometimes are concerned about our health care system, but Canada is much better for the average citizen than our southern neighbors. A correction from last week. The president of the Carberry Ladies Curling Club is Chelsea Cracknell, formerly Chelsea Scott. Carberry Council highlights, October 13th. Carberry will be getting one of the 90 visitation pods the province is placing at personal care homes to allow safe visiting for the residents. It's been a very quick rollout. The time for outdoor visits is over already. In the hurry, the location for the pod was picked without considering the zoning regulations, and it's much closer to the street than it ought to be. Council did not want to hold up a helpful project, so they passed a motion allowing the structure to be placed before the necessary variation order could be granted. The dumpsters by the tracks at the foot of Main Street that were attracting so much misuse are gone. Council couldn't see any other way to eliminate the eyesore. All town residents already get curbside pickup of both garbage and recycling, and the transfer station is to be kept open on a schedule that allows everyone a chance to use it. There would be no need for dumpsters that seem to have attracted the strangest and nastiest contributions. The greatest concern is for the businesses who require a place for their waste, and they are to be given lockable dumpsters of their own as soon as they can be ordered. In the meantime, a couple of dumpsters remain in town, and so far they haven't attracted the misuse the Main Street ones did. And it goes on to say, as a further measure, some tough littering bylaws will be drawn up, and the RCMP and the commissionaires will be asked to enforce them. The whole problem of enforcing regulations can be quite a problem. If you find yourself saying there ought to be a law, there probably is one, but it's better to ask if the law has teeth. Enforcement is the other half of the problem. From time to time, the town has contemplated hiring a peace officer, and so far the idea has been turned down because of both cost and the prohibited regulations of Manitoba justice. It would certainly ease the burden on the RCMP, who are stretched too thin to spend much time on municipal laws. The CAO was asked to research the possibilities and report back. The Museum Board has successfully created a monument to the Commonwealth airmen who trained at Carberry's Flight Training School during World War II. It will be complete as soon as the 5 flagpoles are set around the benches now in place. With that project nearly complete, they are looking at taking on a new one. The Carberry Water Tower is the last steel railway water tower in the province. Considering the importance of the railway to the history of the province, they are hoping to have the tower designated an historic site and to make an interpretive site to showcase the railway's infrastructure. They asked Council what would be involved in their taking over care of the tower. There are details of the insurance, and there is the practical matter that the town's fire protection water supply is drawn from a well there. But Council thought it was a good idea and suggested the Museum Board make a more detailed plan and to seek the advice and perhaps help of the CP Rail. It looks as though COVID-19 has caused 2 more casualties. The annual Halloween dance is off until we can dance again, and the Remembrance Day observances will have to be held outdoors at the cenotaph without the usual participation of the armed forces and the cadets. For that matter, by the next council meeting, it will have to be decided whether there's even going to be a Santa Claus parade. Now a sports comment by Gladwin Scott. Ethan Bjarnson, age 17, is a member of the 2021 Carberry Collegiate graduating class who enjoys all sports. He likes his law class and found the online learning a big change in the spring. He is a smooth skating defenseman who is starting his 3rd season with the Wildcats, while he served as an assistant captain. Instead of high school hockey, they will play under 18 in the Parkismo League. Ethan had several family members who excelled in baseball, and he is following in their footsteps as a promising left-handed pitcher. His father, Doug Matheson, was with Team Manitoba at the 1976 Canada Games in St. John's, Newfoundland, and will be inducted into the Manitoba Hall of Fame with the Cardell youth teams in 2021. Bjarnson was a rookie member of the Carberry Royals who won the 2020 Santa Clara League crown. He also performed with the high school Cougars and the AAA Under-18 Portage squad that reached nationals in London, Ontario. He and his teammate, Leon Flett, won the Zone 7 Mixed Badminton banner and attended the 2018 Provincials in Winkler. Ethan also plays volleyball and enjoys fishing with Griffin Adrianson at Lake Manitoba and Flin Flon. His younger brother Carson is continuing his goaltending career at the Rink Academy in Winnipeg, while sister Reagan, age 10, plays defense in Neepawa. Future plans include continuing his electrical apprenticeship with Smart Electric, where he has already achieved 700 hours and almost 7 academic credits. Beautiful Plains Medical Clinic, a history. In early 2000, the doctors in Neepawa got together and approached the Neepawa Town Council and surrounding rural municipalities to see if they would support the concept of a community medical clinic where doctors could lease space for their practice and not have to manage a building property. Wayne Hollier was a member of the Neepawa Council at the time and was instrumental in getting a committee together, serving as the first chairperson for the committee. The committee was made up of municipal and citizen representation from the town of Neepawa, RM of Rosedale, RM of North Cypress Langford, and the municipality of Glenella Lansdowne. The Neepawa District Medical Committee was formed. The committee was given the responsibility to manage the project under Neepawa Area Development Corporation, or NADCO, and to find a building on property suitable to establish a community clinic. NADCO purchased the Neepawa and District Medical Clinic from Dr. and Mrs. Chapman in 2009. In 2010, Dr. Ong and Dr. Potker agreed to join what was to become a community clinic with some renovations to be done. First, the downstairs area was turned into private offices for doctors, and a central area for administration was designed by Dr. Ong. Late in 2010, Dr. Tariq joined the clinic. Early 2012, the doctors group told our committee they needed more exam rooms. A committee was formed and they came up with a plan for the first addition to the clinic. A 680 square foot construction started in late 2012 and was completed in late spring 2013 with a very attractive 2-bedroom suite downstairs for medical students. In 2015 and 16, NADCO purchased more property for further expansion to the building and parking lot. In 2016, the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic Board informed our committee of the need to expand once again. This expansion would mean expanding the reception area due to increasing staff and clientele. Michael J. Cox, architect, designed the reception area and new entrance, as well as a plan to bring the existing building up to today's fire code. In 2017, renovation to the reception area and the new entrance were completed. The last addition was built in 2018, 1,920 square feet, with a very nice 2-bedroom suite in the lower level. When the grand opening was held, committee chair Arnie Susky said, "I'd like to acknowledge people that were on the committee over the years. Wendy Menzies, Wayne Hollier, Jim Coburn, Bob Durston, Ken Waddell, Adrian DeGroot, and Daryl Gerard, all representing the Neepawa Council. Wayne Hildebrand, NADCO chairman and finance chair for our committee and councillor of the RM of North Cypress Langford. Also Glenn Cummings, Joanne Pollock, our secretary and citizen rep for Langford. She was on our committee from the start until her passing 1 year ago. The present committee of Joan Pops, secretary and grants Mary Ellen Clark, lottery chairperson, John Nelson, real estate, Robert Scott, RM of Rosedale, Richard Funk, municipality of Glenella Lansdowne, Murray Parrott, town of Neepawa, NADCO Chairman and Finance Committee Ray Jason, RM of North Cypress Langford, Brian Headley, Town of Neepawa, Blake McCutcheon, Town of Neepawa, and Arnie Susky, Committee Chairman. Susky continued, on behalf of our committee, I'd like to thank all the doctors and their clinic staff in managing to keep the clinic open while renovations and the building of the additions were taking place, and all their help in the planning of the renos and new addition. We'd like to thank Valley Optical for their consideration while all this work was going on. We'd like to thank our building and property caretaker, Vince Walker. Sometimes extra cleaning was needed to be done. And it goes on to talk about the medical staff. Pictured here, the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic in Neepawa has grown over the years, and the staff continue to work diligently to assist all who come to them. The Banner Press would like to introduce you to these individuals, office staff and doctors alike. Pictured here is Carol D., Shannon B., Michelle O., Shannon H., and Adele T. Not pictured are Diane T., Donna G., and Chanel C. With the Beautiful Plains Medical Clinic cash lottery getting nearer and nearer, the Banner Press would like to bring attention to all the staff who work to keep the community healthy. The following information has been provided by the medical clinic. Shannon B., employed since 1994, works with medical records and as a clinic assistant. Carol D., clinic supervisor, has been employed since 1984. Michelle O. works as a receptionist and clinic assistant. She started at the clinic in 2010. Shannon H. is the administrative secretary for the Beautiful Plains Clinic and has worked there since 1982. Diane T., employed since 1991, is a receptionist and billing clerk. Donna G., receptionist and clinic assistant, has been employed since 1989. And Shannon C., employed since 2018, is also a receptionist and clinic assistant for the medical clinic. Pictured here are Dr. Jordan Cram, Dr. Nichelle Desilets, and Dr. Rob Potker. Dr. Jordan Cram completed his biochemistry undergraduate degree at the University of Winnipeg in 2018. He graduated medical school at the University of Manitoba in 2016. He completed his postgraduate training in rural family medicine in Dauphin, Manitoba via the University of Manitoba in 2018. Dr. Cram joined the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic in 2018. His current practice includes family medicine, care of hospital inpatients, ER coverage, and personal care home care. Dr. Nichelle Desilets completed her undergraduate degree at the University of Manitoba in 2009 with a major in biology and a minor in developmental psychology. She attended the University of Calgary Faculty of Medicine from 2009 to 2012, completing a large portion of her clinical training in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. She completed her postgraduate training in rural family medicine in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan in 2014 and went on to further training in enhanced surgical skills in 2015 through the University of Saskatchewan. Dr. Desilets joined the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic in Neepawa in August 2015. Her current practice includes office family medicine, care of hospital inpatients, ER coverage, obstetrical care, limited surgical and endoscopy services, and personal care home care. Dr. Rob Potker completed a Bachelor of Church Music at the Canadian Mennonite Bible College. He went on to a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and Science at the University of Manitoba. He earned his medical degree from the University of Manitoba as well. Dr. Potker completed his family medicine training through the Dauphin program and also has additional training in anesthesia. Dr. Potker joined the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic in Neepawa in 2000. His current practice includes anesthesia, general practice, emergency medicine, and GP oncology at the Neepawa Community Chemotherapy Unit. He has given up his obstetrical practice effective early 2018. Dr. Potker lives on an acreage with his wife and 2 daughters. He likes to spend all his spare time fishing. Pictured here are also medical staff: Dr. Kristen Wareham, Dr. George Ong, Dr. Brian Milligan, Dr. Mohammed Tariq, and Dr. Sandra Weeb. Dr. Wareham completed her undergraduate degree at the Brandon University in 2010 with a major in biology and a minor in psychology and chemistry. She graduated medical school in 2015 from the U of M. She completed her postgraduate training in rural family medicine Brandon University via University of Manitoba on 2017. Dr. Wareham joined the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic in 2017. Her current practice includes family medicine, care of hospital inpatients, ER coverage, maternity care, and personal care home care. Dr. George Ong completed his MBBS at the Middlesex Hospital Medical School in London, England in 1972. Additional training includes a 1-year internship, 6 months of pediatrics residency, and 3.5 years of internal medicine residency. He completed his MRCP in internal medicine in the UK in 1975. He opened his medical practice in Neepawa in May 1997. He was instrumental in conception and success of the current community clinic. Dr. Brian Milligan completed a Bachelor of Science in 2004 and his medical degree in 2008, both at U of M. He completed his family medicine residency in 2010 at Dalhousie University in Fredericton. In 2011, he underwent an additional 6 months of enhanced obstetrics training through the University of Manitoba, including cesarean section. Dr. Milligan has spent time working in emergency medicine at the Dr. Everett Chalmers Hospital in Fredericton and at Concordia Hospital in Winnipeg. He joined the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic in Neepawa in July 2011. Dr. Milligan is interested in full-scope family practice, especially obstetrics. Dr. Mohammed Tariq completed a Bachelor of Medicine at Punjab University in Lahore, Pakistan. He went on to postgraduate training in general surgery in Edinburgh, UK. He has experience in general surgery, pediatric, cardiac, and thoracic surgery, as well as obstetrics and gynecology and emergency medicine. He also completed a family medicine residency in Nottingham, UK. He has extensive work experience in family medicine, surgery, and obstetrics, having worked across the UK. Dr. Tariq joined the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic in Neepawa in August 2010. His current practice includes general family practice, hospital inpatient care, emergency medicine, and some general surgery procedures. Dr. Sandra Weeb completed a Bachelor of Science degree in Environmental Studies at the University of Winnipeg. She obtained her medical degree from the University of Manitoba and then went on to the Family Medicine Residency Program in Fort St. John, BC, from July 2009 to December 2011. Dr. Weeb has also completed additional training in family practice oncology through Cancer Care Manitoba in Winnipeg. Dr. Weeb has worked in Fort St. John, BC, following completion of residency training. She joined the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic in Neepawa in August 2013. Her current practice involves office family medicine, care of hospital inpatients, ER coverage, maternity care, and GP oncology at the Neepawa Community Chemotherapy Unit. Rotary, hard at work sprucing up the community. If you have been walking around Park Lake recently, you may have seen Rotarians staining the 3 viewing platforms, as well as a few of the benches. You may have noticed some new signage as well. These improvements are part of a multi-year project to refurbish and or replace existing Rotary signage and structures. The project has been in the works for a while, but it received a boost when the Neepawa Rotary Club was recently awarded $300 for placing first in a district video contest. The money was tagged for improving Rotary's local public image. 2 large signs have been replaced, one on Highway 5 South and one at Rotary Park. 3 viewing platforms and 2 benches around the former Park Lake received a new coat of stain and new signage. In addition, brush was cleared around the platforms to give viewers a better view of the former lake. In spite of a lake that has gone missing and fewer reasons to use the platforms, Rotary felt that in order to keep the structures sound, they needed a protective coat of stain. Rotary member Ron Nordstrom says, even though the future of the lake is uncertain, it is important to maintain the platforms for now. The decision regarding the future of the lake is years away. We couldn't wait that long to maintain our structures. Rotary President this year, Wayne Jacobsen, spoke about the involvement of local businesses. He said local businesses support Rotary, and Rotary likes to support local businesses. The signs were purchased from Provo Signs. They look great and should last a lot of years. The project became very affordable when Home Hardware donated 7 gallons of stain. All we had to do was supply the manpower. Next year, Rotary plans to stain 2 large sign structures as well as the shelter at Rotary Park as phase 2 of this project. And it shows Ernie Mothe fixing the sign. This is what it looked like before, and this is the new one. Bob Finlayson with the new sign at Rotary Park. Ernie Mothe, Dave Bennett, and Murray Newton staining one of the lookouts at Park Lake, and Rotarians Wayne Jacobsen and Bob Finlayson staining another Park Lake lookout point. And on October the 7th, Rotary, with the help of Neepawa Middle School staff, were cleaning up the highway ditches west of Neepawa. 7 of the Neepawa Middle School staff and 13 Rotarians covered the 8-kilometer stretch of Highway 16 adopted by the Rotary Club. In total, the crew picked up 28 bags of garbage weighing 80 kilograms. And in this picture, you can see volunteers Sherry Hollier, Moira Woods, Cassia Hollier, and Jody Vanell helping out. Now in the sports section, Neepawa natives putting extra effort into fans' safety. The Manitoba Junior Hockey League is off to a good start in spite of many changes to operations brought about by efforts to combat COVID-19. The Neepawa Natives Junior A Hockey Club has had to make a number of adjustments in the way a game operates. The MJHL, the local team, and the Yellowhead Centre are both operating under Manitoba health rules due to COVID-19. The Yellowhead Centre Arena has a capacity of about 1,000 people and would be allowed to have a half or 500 and under the new rules except for social distancing requirements. Once the social distancing is taken into account, the Yellowhead can have 292 fans in the seats and only 32 in the lobby, plus staff, players, and staff volunteers. The lobby capacity is allowed to go up and down as the people come and go to the concessions or the washrooms. The team keeps careful track of all the fans who come in. Both fans and volunteers are required to sign in or scan a barcode on their phone. As in other years, walk-up ticket sales, season tickets and flex pack tickets are carefully tracked. Numbers are closely monitored during the game. The tickets are all tallied up to determine total attendance. So far, there have been 3 home games, and while the numbers have been close to capacity, the totals have been kept within the legal limits. In addition to having fans and volunteers sign in, hand sanitizer is at the door. Washroom capacity has been limited, and social distance at the Red Line Grill and blue line bar is strongly encouraged. There have been times when lineups of people have had to wait a bit to get through the sign-up station, but an extra lane is planned for future games. Even the sign-up pins will be sanitized between uses as much as possible. And in this picture, Terriers nip at Neepawa's heels. Neepawa's Jaeger LaPointe looks to advance the puck further into the Portage defensive zone as the Terriers defenseman Naaman Hofer follows closely on his heels. The Portage Terriers would end up winning the game on Friday, October 23rd by the score of 5-3. The next night in Portage La Prairie, however, it was Neepawa who prevailed by the score of 4-2. WHLers will play for Neepawa. A pair of players from the WHL will be hitting the ice for Neepawa's Junior A Hockey Club in the near future. Under the WHL's new temporary transfer rule, Red Deer Rebels left winger Zach Smith and Kelowna Rockets forward Dallin Wilton will be eligible to play for the MJHL team. Smith previously played 46 games for Neepawa in the 2017 and 18 season, putting together a 22-point effort, 11 games, 11 assists as a 16-year-old. Since then, the now 19-year-old from Austin has played 140 games with the Rebels, generating 47 points, including 25 goals and 22 assists. Wilton, meanwhile, has played 109 games with the Rockets. The 19-year-old from Beausejour accumulated 13 points, including 6 goals, 7 assists for Kelowna. There's been a flurry of transactions across the MJHL since the WHL announced that their players will be able to join other leagues. The temporary loan agreements will terminate December 20th, with players recalled back to their WHL clubs in time for training camp, which will begin after Christmas. Community case of COVID-19 has the Wolverines in lockdown. On October 26th, Manitoba public health officials advised Wew'suwakapo First Nation that a positive case of COVID-19 had been detected within the community. In a meeting with local health authorities and Wew'suwakapo Chief and Council, it was agreed upon that the Wew'suwakapo Wolverines Hockey Club would continue playing their upcoming scheduled games without interruption. However, for the foreseeable future, the Wolverines will keep the doors to the public closed. In a media statement released on Monday, the team said, "As much as our players love playing in front of our incredible fans, we feel it is of utmost importance to do whatever it takes to protect our community members and our players." Gladstone Golf and Country Club 2020 raffle winners. That is, the club would like to thank everyone who purchased a ticket in our 2020 raffle. The money was used for debt repayment, and it has a numerous number of people from May 25th to September the 6th that have won. Congratulations to all the winners. 2021 raffle tickets are available now. Please contact the Gladstone Golf and Country Club executive to purchase tickets. After the last season was cut short in March, the players in the Tiger Hills Hockey League, or the THHL, are all happy to be getting back to the game. With everything that's happened since last season, it's exciting to have a season, expressed Matt Saylor, player for the Minnesota Bombers. Gladstone Lakers general manager Dale Evanson agreed with the sentiment. The guys are looking forward to getting back on the ice and getting the season going. This year will look a little different than normal, with the certain measures taken to help reduce the risk of COVID-19. The two divisions, East and West, will only play other teams within their division until the playoffs. The season will be slightly shorter as well, only playing 12 regular season games as opposed to 18, as in previous years. While some exhibition games took place this past weekend, the regular season is set to start up this week on Friday, October 30th. The Neepawa Farmers, who finished off last year's regular season at 9-8-0-0, have a fairly good contingent of returning players this year. I'd say we probably have 15 or 16 returning, said General Manager Rodney White. He noted that they have a couple of roster spots that are up in the air, but that's something they'll be figuring out yet. The Minnedosa Bombers have a number of returning players as well as a few new faces. A couple of older guys have retired and a couple of younger guys moved away, but for the most part it's the same group of guys. Evenson said that the Gladstone Lakers are in pretty much the same boat. There are always a few new players and some that have decided not to play competitive hockey anymore. COVID is on the top of a lot of players' minds. All three team representatives agreed that only playing within the East Division make a lot of sense this year. It's always nice to see everybody in the league, but with what's going on in the world right now, it just makes the most sense, stated White. He added that with the reduced travel expenses, it also makes financial sense as nobody is sure just how many fans they will be able to get to the games. Playing within our own division makes a lot of sense this season. With all the uncertainty this year, we need to cut down games and travel, Evenson agreed. Saylor noted that playing the same 6 other teams all season will add to the excitement. It would be nice to see the teams on the other side, but at least we are playing. All the clubs would love to get some great turnout to their games, adhering to their COVID-19 restrictions, of course. Teams are asking that fans wear masks when attending the games. There will also be limited seating in the indoor sections of the arenas, so spectators are recommended to dress warmly and be prepared to sit out by the ice. Physical distancing will also be in effect. Neepawa's first home game will take place on Wednesday, November 4th against Pilot Mound at 8 p.m. Minnedosa and Gladstone's home openers take place Saturday, November 14th against Cartwright and Neepawa respectively. Both of those games start at 8 p.m. as well. All right, the last article is about Christmas hampers continuing in COVID times. Neepawa Community Ministry Center, or NCMC, Neepawa's Salvation Army branch, is making changes to its Christmas hamper program to ensure that needs of families are still met despite COVID-19. Planning for Christmas during this time of a pandemic has made us look at the logistics of what we do and evaluate the safety surrounding those processes, stated Amanda Nottingale, the Community Ministries Director. This year's Christmas hampers will consist of gift cards for food while still providing pre-selected toys and small gifts for children. There were a couple of major factors that led us to this decision. The first being that many of our major food drives would not be happening this year. This meant we would have to purchase groceries to supplement the hampers. The second being, how would we be able to bring safety volunteers into pack hampers in a COVID-friendly environment? The plans made not only affect the Neepawa area, but also the Westlake Gladstone area operations. We're so grateful for Terry and Laura Lee Fair and their team to continue organizing the hamper program for RM of Westlake Gladstone on our behalf. We couldn't serve both areas as effectively without their continuing support. Both operations are expecting a higher than normal need for assistance this Christmas and are asking for the company's support through the donation of money and new unwrapped toys. Applications will start being taken for Neepawa area on November the 6th. Existing clients may apply over the phone or through the Neepawa Salvation Army Facebook page through Messenger. New clients must make an appointment to apply in person. No drop-ins will be accepted. All calls may be made to 476-5869. Deadline for applications is November 27th. Pickup dates for hampers will be scheduled during the applications for Wednesday, December 16th and 17th. For the RM of Westlake Gladstone, existing and new applicants will need to call Laura Lee Fair at 204-385-3137 starting November 16th to set up times to review their applications. Deadline for applications for the Westlake Gladstone is December 4th. Pickup dates for hampers will be scheduled during the application for Thursday, December 17th. Monetary donations for both areas can be made at any local Salvation Army Christmas kettle. And if looking to donate in Gladstone, donations can also be left at the kettle at the Co-op grocery store or dropped off in the mail slot of the Gladstone United Church. Toys and gifts can be dropped off for both Neepawa and Gladstone at the Salvation Army thrift store at 342 Mountain Avenue in Neepawa. Food donations will not be used in the Christmas hampers this year and will go directly to supplement the food bank that operates all year round. Minnedosa Pharmacy chosen as Business of the Month. Congratulations to them. And the 21st draw of the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation's 25 Days of Giving took place on Friday, October 9th, with the 22nd draw taking place on October 23rd. The two latest winners were the Burroughs Trail Arts Council, which won $500 on October 9th, as well as the Neepawa Curling Club, which received $750 on October 23rd. These two latest draws bring the total amount of money given away so far to $18,750 of the $25,000 available. That concludes this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press, and there'll be another edition next week. See you then.